It was a cold and foggy night in the mountains. The road was empty and silent. Daniel had been driving for hours, trying to reach the nearest town before midnight. The fog was getting thicker, and the headlights of his car could barely show the road ahead. Suddenly, the engine of his car made a strange noise. Then the car stopped. Daniel tried to start the engine again. Once, twice, 3 times. But nothing happened. The car was completely dead. Daniel sighed and grabbed his phone to call for help, but there was no signal. He stepped out of the car and looked around. Tall trees surrounded the road from every side. The forest looked dark and endless. The wind slowly moved through the trees, making soft whispering sounds. Then Daniel noticed something strange. Far away in the forest, he saw a small yellow light. At first he thought it was just his imagination. But when he looked again, the light was still there. Curious and desperate, Daniel picked up his flashlight and started walking toward the light. The path was covered with dry leaves that cracked under his feet. After walking for a few minutes, he finally saw it clearly. An old house. The house looked abandoned. The walls were broken and dark. The windows were dusty and cracked, but one window on the second floor had a small light glowing inside. Daniel slowly walked toward the front gate. The gate opened with a loud creaking sound. It felt like nobody had opened it in many years. The yard was covered with dead leaves and broken branches. Daniel walked to the front door and knocked. No answer. He knocked again. Still nothing. Just as he turned to leave, the door slowly opened by itself. Daniel froze. His heart started beating faster. "Hello," he called out, but nobody replied. The inside of the house was dark and quiet. Daniel stepped inside carefully. The wooden floor made soft cracking sounds with every step. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind him. Daniel quickly turned around and tried to open it, but it was locked. He felt a strange fear growing inside him. The house smelled old and dusty. On the walls were many old paintings. Daniel walked closer to one of them, and then he noticed something strange. The eyes in the painting were staring directly at him. He moved to the left. The eyes followed him. He moved to the right. The eyes still followed him. Daniel nervously laughed. "It's just my imagination," he whispered, but deep inside, he knew something was wrong. Suddenly he heard a sound. Footsteps. Slow footsteps coming from upstairs. Daniel looked toward the staircase. The staircase was dark and narrow. For a moment he thought about leaving the house, but the front door was still locked, so he slowly started walking up the stairs. Each step made a loud creaking noise. Step, step, step. At the end of the hallway upstairs there was a single door. A weak, flickering light was coming from inside the room. Daniel slowly pushed the door open. Inside the room there was almost nothing. Only a chair in the middle, and a large mirror on the wall. Daniel walked toward the mirror. His reflection looked normal at first, but then something strange happened. In the reflection, he saw a dark shadow standing behind him. Daniel quickly turned around, but there was nothing there. He looked back at the mirror again. This time, his reflection was smiling, but Daniel himself was not smiling. His body froze in fear. Then the reflection slowly whispered, "You finally came." The lights in the room suddenly went out. The entire house became dark. Daniel ran out of the room and into the hallway, but something had changed. The hallway was much longer now, much longer than before. The walls were covered with more paintings, and every painting showed the same face. His face. Daniel started running down the hallway in panic. "Let me out," he shouted. of the house remained silent. Then a cold whisper echoed through the walls. "This house watches everyone." Daniel ran down the stairs as fast as he could, but when he reached the bottom, the front door was gone. Only a blank wall stood there, no windows, no exit. The whisper returned again. "You saw the house. Now the house sees you." Suddenly, all the paintings in the house slowly turned toward him, their eyes wide open, watching him, always watching. Daniel screamed in terror, and the floor beneath him slowly started sinking into darkness. The last thing he heard was a whisper calling his name. "Daniel." The next morning, the road was empty again. Daniel's car was still parked on the side of the road, but Daniel himself had disappeared. A painting had appeared on the wall, a painting of a frightened young man standing in a dark hallway, his eyes wide with fear, watching anyone who looked at the painting. And if you look closely, the eyes in the painting follow you, because once you see the house sees you too, and it never stops watching. But some people say Daniel is still inside that house, watching anyone who watches this video. Would you enter this house at night?